Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. Today's topic is personal development is not enough. I know that's a surprising topic for you. Personal development is not enough, but I've got some awesome stuff I want to talk to you about today. In fact, I'm so anxious I don't even know where to start. But we are going to start with the quote of the day from the Daily Mastermind mobile app. And the quote of the day is by Napoleon Hill. And the quote is, "Anything the human mind can believe, the human mind can achieve." Anything the human mind can believe, the human mind can achieve. And it never ceases to amaze me. I pull these quotes out like 90 days in advance, and they always seem to coincide with thoughts that I've had that I want to share with you. So let's talk a little bit about why I believe this quote is true, and it really dovetails into our topic for today, because I don't want to just accept, and many of you have been studying personal development most of your lives, and you know that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve, right? This idea that your beliefs will create your life, and anything you believe you can translate into a life of itself. But I want to talk to you really in deep about that today. But in order to do that, I want to tell you a little bit about my background. Some of you know, many of you may not if you're listening for the first time. But as a really driven, passionate entrepreneur, I've cycled through different types of mindset over my career. I've evolved through different types of mindset. You know, my first mindset when I was a struggling, aspiring sales representative is I was chasing success, right? I felt like happiness, like many of us right out of school, comes from things. It comes from creating a lot of money. You can get a lot of success, live like most people won't. So eventually you can live like most people can't. And I chased that success. And to be quite honest, I was pretty successful at it. I was able to make six-figure incomes at a very, very young age. And, and I had some success, and I created a lot of memories, and I really enjoyed it, but it really wasn't enough. And I slowly shifted into this idea that I needed to be able to maybe control a little bit more. I became a manager, a CEO, and I shifted into this because I was at this level of success. I shifted into this area of I'm going to live a life that's happy. I'm not just going to try to get things to become happy. So I started living the life. I mean, I had the cars, the trips, the travel, and all kinds of things, but I still found myself sort of looking for more and wanting more and not quite fulfilled. And so that's what brought me into this major shift. And that, along with some heavy challenges in my life, like divorce and depression and things like that, brought me into an awareness that what I was looking for was not outside of me, it was inside of me. And that led me to my favorite quote of success is not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person you become. It got me really focused on personal development, which is why personal development became my focus. And I moved into this whole concept of creating the Daily Mastermind, which I now have trademarked, the mobile app, the podcast, and whatnot. But let's be honest, one thing I knew, and I know to this day, is that I've always personally had that ability to push past obstacles in my life. I knew that through inspiration, motivation, continuing education, I could push through and still have success. I could push past the obstacles and the circumstances to have success. And throughout this journey of motivating and inspiring and educating people through my podcast, I've also become more and more aware that there's a major issue with the personal development space. You run out of willpower. You run out of, and I'm learning this by talking to more and more of you and getting more and more feedback, and that is that awareness of personal development is not enough. Personal development itself is not enough. Identifying your limiting beliefs is not enough. How many of you have actually gone to events and gone to things? I, like many of you, have had a life of personal development with areas that I've learned and I've grown. But think about it for a minute. How many of you have taken courses on personal development? How many of you have gone to breakthrough intensive events? And how many of you have had coaches or mentoring? But you still struggle with creating change in your life. And I realize that life itself is going to be a constant, path, and it's going to be a constant move to the next perspective. But I want to give you something that I learned recently that really, I think, put a few things in place for me. What I really needed, and what I believe most people need, is what, like David Baird, has put recently, is kind of a personal development 2.0. A next level, an evolution of personal development where you truly understand the science and the processes that your mind and your brain and your physiology need to do in order to create wired lasting change. Let me explain what I mean by that. We've all heard of the process, and we understand this process of the belief cycle. And, maybe I'll just review that for some of you that are not familiar with it, or maybe as a review for you that have. And that's this process of how we create our life. And that is our thoughts. When we have a thought in our life, it leads to feelings. And then those feelings create actions that we will take in order to create a result in our life. And those results that we have over time, our experiences, our results, they create beliefs. And these beliefs that we have, both in our conscious and our subconscious mind, these beliefs are what create our thoughts. So the problem is that we're always in this cycle of having thoughts which create feelings and actions, and based on your beliefs, you'll put a certain amount of action and time and energy and money into it, you're going to get a result. And the thing is, we're creatures that like to believe, that we like to validate our beliefs. And so we're constantly in this cycle. And this is why our thoughts are creating our lives, but this is also why our limited beliefs will hurt our ability to create and grow and manifest a different life, a better life. You can tell yourself, hey, I have this new thought. I have a new thought, and I have a new belief, and I'm going to be a multimillionaire, or I'm going to have an amazing relationship, or I'm more than enough, and I can do what I need to do, and I have confidence, and I can act as if. And you can want that as much as you want, and you can have that thought as much as you want, but when your belief, your subconscious internal beliefs don't believe it, it's going to work against you. It will absolutely work against you. That's why they call it a limiting belief. And so here's the thing. We identify through personal development our limited beliefs. And traditional personal development tells us that if you're aware of these limiting beliefs and you change them, you have a breakthrough, you create results. But that's not the case. That might be short term, and I do believe that you can create results from that, but it's not that simple. Which brings me to the point of this podcast, and what I want to do, is help provide you and I both, right, over the next couple of weeks with a better understanding of how to create some long-term change, how to take all this foundation of what we've learned and take it to the next level and hardwire ourselves for success. See, after 20 to 25 years, that's how long I've been in this space of personal development, financial education, and entrepreneurship. I've heard a few topics recently that have really changed the way I think, and I think you should approach your life. Maybe it was something new, or maybe it was just the way it was said, or the timing for me, or the fact that I've been really engulfed in this space for a while. But listening to a gentleman by the name of David Bear recently helped me to kind of put a few puzzle pieces together in my learning and development, and I'm telling you, it was a major aha moment for me. And let me explain a little bit about what I mean here. Now, you've heard me talk about this concept of neuroplasticity, and this is just something I've learned in the past, and so let me kind of walk you through it a little bit again and help you to understand, because this is the science of the brain. Most people feel like, you get to a certain age and you can't change the way you think, you can't change the way you are because it's just embedded. You learn everything when you're, a child and then you can't learn later. Science has proven that that is not the case. Science recently has proven that you can absolutely change the way you think and the way you act and your habits. So neuroplasticity is this ability for our brains to form and reorganize synaptic connections. Think about that for a minute, because everything we do, it's made up of all these electrical impulses in our body, our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system and our brain, right? But especially neuroplasticity is specific to your response to your learning or experiences that you have, because it's storing these experiences and learning in our brain, it's hardwiring into our minds. This is important because everything we believe is created from our experiences. All of our beliefs, limited or not, are created from our experiences. Joy, gratitude, everything from whether you're enough, whether you believe in success, whether you believe you can be, have a relationship. All these beliefs are created by these things that are neuroimpulses that over time we really hardwire into ourselves. And everything we store in our minds, our brains, is based on these experiences that we have and create in our life. So you've heard before, the neurons that fire together wire together, right? So the more often we have things happen in our life, the more we go a certain path, over and over and over, these become really ingrained patterns and beliefs. And so the older you get, the more you experience things, the more you travel these paths of these neurons, the more automatic and ingrained and imprinted and permanent they become, right? This is why when you're in a state of believing that you're not worthy, or you're in states of depression, or you're not enough, or people take advantage of me, or bad things always happen to me, or I never catch a break, et cetera, et cetera. Over time, these things get hardwired into your thoughts and beliefs, literally hardwired into your mind and your brain. So the challenge is, you can't just have a thought and say, I recognize that limiting belief, I'm going to change my thought, and all of a sudden it changes because you've made a decision. The challenge is that you can't effectively work to reprogram your mind without understanding the process. Our brains, our subconscious, our limiting beliefs, whatever you want to call it, they'll work against you. So I believe, and now I want to back up a second, I do believe that motivation and inspiration and education with strategies and things, you can push through circumstances and obstacles and create new experiences and create new beliefs. Absolutely. It's what I've been doing my entire life. I've been pushing through without necessarily exactly understanding the process. So I definitely believe you can push through things, but, and this is where I want you to listen, wouldn't it be nice to have a real clear understanding, maybe a strategy and a process by which you can learn to rewire and reprogram your thinking so that you can effectively and intentionally create new belief patterns, new experiences, new empowering thoughts, and at the same time, eliminate and stop these negative patterns, beliefs, and paths that your brain and your neurons are traveling. Because the more you travel these new paths, the more they'll become ingrained, and the older ones will disappear. Now, I know that would impact many of you. It impacts me, and I've seen it happen. But I want to walk you through what I've learned over the next few days and weeks, and I want to do this so that you and I together can start to use this unbelievable process to actually change our thoughts so we can change our lives. You see, the key to find out, and finding a way to interrupt these thought patterns, because that's really the key, right? The key to interrupting these thought patterns is to identify the patterns and slowly move in a different direction so that you can, over time, automatically always be going in that direction. But that takes practice, it takes repetition, and more importantly, it takes an understanding of the process. You have to understand how it works, and it makes it so much simpler to make it happen. And truth be told, you do need a foundation. It's probably this foundation of personal development and motivation, inspiration, education, and everything I've had that helps me to understand it. So I want to take you through a little bit of both of that. So here's what I propose over the next couple of weeks. If you'll join me over this next couple of weeks, I spent a lot of time, and I've identified the key lessons that I've learned over the last 25 years in this space. I've really worked, that from my background, I've been able to work very closely with some of the best and the brightest thought leaders and experts in the world. Like I've done their marketing, I've worked closely with them, or I've been around them, right? But I want to take the biggest, most important key lesson I've learned from, like Tony Robbins, Ed Mylett, Bob Proctor, David Baer, T. Harv Eker, Les Brown, Noah St. John, Gary Vee, Lou Holtz, and many, many, many other seven-figure entrepreneurs. And I'm talking about the biggest key lesson from each of them. I want to highlight each day. I'm going to cover these over the next couple weeks in order to accomplish one main objective, and that is to help you and I have a foundation and a process to start rewiring our brains for success and re-hardwiring this success patterns into your automatic subconscious mind, right? So as a result, it's my hope and my goal that it'll bring you a new awareness of the strategies, the processes by which you can actually create changes in your brain and your mind, so that then you can change your thoughts, which will affect your feelings, which will create different actions, so you'll have better results, and then your beliefs will start to grow. Now, this process is going to help you to begin creating the life that you were meant to live, and it'll take you on, the next step or the evolution on your process or your journey as an entrepreneur. And, I know that if I can help you to build a foundation, if I can help you to understand the science behind this process and help you to rewire and hardwire these positive thought patterns into your mind, that, I'm going to make a bigger impact, you're going to make a bigger impact, you're going to have huge results, amazing results, and you're going to create more happiness, health, and fulfillment in your life. So it's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be a fast ride over the next couple of weeks. I've got so much, I don't even know where to start, but I've really outlined this into a process of all these experts I'm going to highlight. And I'd like you to share this information with as many people as you can so we can make it a big impact. We can help other people. But I really think this is going to be exciting. And so I hope you'll join me with that. I hope you're getting off and making it a great day today, making it a great week for you. I'm glad you joined me for a little while. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow. But that's my message for today. I'm looking forward to getting this process rocking and rolling tomorrow. Once again, this is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a phenomenal day. Talk with you soon.